Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up with you.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How in the world are you? This is your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation, and I'm coming in red hot with another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, coming at you live from a martial arts tournament, specifically speaking, a NASKA 6A tournament, the what was once called back in the day the DC Capital Classic. It is the U.S. Capital Classic, thrown every year around this time in August by Dennis Brown. For those that are martial artists, know that Dennis Brown is a grandmaster in the art of Chinese wushu. He has been doing this for a very long time. I remember back in the day attending his event when it was not here over at National Harbor near Washington, D.C. It was actually thrown many years ago over at Fairfax, Virginia, over at George Mason University, over at the basketball stadium. Quite the transition from then to now, you know what I mean, in every sense of the word. And we're here outdoors. It's lovely. It is a great, beautiful evening, not humidity in sight. And I know that I am on borrowed time because, ladies and gentlemen, I have one of those rare moments where I have an in-person guest. Literally a guest and a half, because, you know, she came with entourage. So I got to be on my best behavior because I was told by this entourage, you know, you mess up, son, you know, I'm going to throw you in the middle of the street and I'm going to take my size 2 shoe and beat you up, you know, every chance that I get. And I'm like, oh no, because, you know, I'm a lover, not a fighter, as Michael Jackson once said in that beautiful song with him and Paul McCartney, The Girl Is Mine. This person I've known for many years. She actually still competes in the NASKA circuit, doing weapons, traditional forms, I think CMX forms, and as of late, I saw video footage of her, you know, rocking the ring, being a spar. So I was really shocked about that because, as for long as I've known her, I've never really seen her be the triple threat, as they say in the world of martial arts. Triple threat meaning that you compete in everything. You know, you're not just a one-trick pony. You do it all. And, you know, she's fresh from competition right now. And she's actually agreed to spend some time with us. I really do appreciate that. Coming all the way over in Adairsville, Georgia. She is the owner of a martial arts school called Championship Karate. And, you know, she's also a real cool person, you know, life of the party. And we are glad to have her. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the one time, we have here with us right now, Sara Laterza. I think that is the way to pronounce her last name. Sara, what's going on, big time?
Nothing much. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Now, number one, did I say that last name correctly?
Yes, it's Laterza.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And like I said, I remember you when, you know, by your maiden name, Sarah Hackney.
Right.
So
yeah.
and I saw. I remember seeing a young girl in her social media. She did like a jump front kick. She actually got a picture with martial arts legend Bill Superfoot Wallace.
Yes.
So I was like, you know, okay, that's how deep it was. And we have met one time, and I do remember that. It was probably in one NASKA event. In some tournament. I don't remember, but I know it was at least one of it.
I think you're right. Probably one of the northern ones.
Probably. I mean, it It could have been possible unless you competed back in the day, like when you were younger. Like, did you compete in the Diamond, or not Diamond, but Battle of Atlanta back in the day?
Oh yeah, I started doing that in like 06, 07.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So either there, I did Rhode Island. I think I did New England Open way back in the day.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's another one. Like, wow, that's another one that. Okay.
It's not around anymore.
No, the New England Open is still around, but like when you talk about like old school NASKA events, like the Charlie Lee tournament that's like in the other side of Washington D.C. When you talk about what is it, the Bluegrass, Kentucky Bluegrass, that's gone.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, like, all these tournaments that I remember in the NASKA circuit is like dead and gone, just like the Justin Timberlake song. It's dead and gone.
It is. It's kind of sad. I loved the Bluegrass. That was one of my favorites.
What happened, do you think, in your opinion? Do you think it was like one of those things that maybe the promoters just didn't have enough capital every year to throw the event, or what went wrong, do you think?
I think just after Master Ken died, it just kind of fell off after that. I think they just kind of let it go in a respectful way. I believe so. I think they just didn't have the heart to keep it going, I think.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that. I mean, it would kind of feel weird to keep throwing a tournament that somebody threw and knowing that that person is no longer with us. It's just like, we understand that you're trying to keep that alive, but at the same time, it's a little bit, it's a little awkward.
Yeah. It would be.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're here to talk about you. It's actually really cool that we, have this moment, and your daughter is here with us, and we have the airplanes and the choppers out in the sky. Which, ladies and gentlemen, I can't help the background noise, so you're just going to have to deal with it, man. You have to deal with it. It's not like I can hit a button, say shut up, and then all the things like are muted. I don't have that mutant power, so you keep a lid on it. So let's go ahead and talk about it. You've been a Georgia girl all of your life?
Yeah, born and raised.
Okay.
Yep.
What was a young Sarah like back in the day? I mean, was she like, very outgoing? Was she really shy? Was she athletic? Was she all about, just being, an intellectual, hitting the books every day? What kind of person was she like?
Oh man, I was a polar opposite from what I am now. So as a kid, I was like glued to my mom's hip. Didn't want to try anything new. Didn't want to, she took me to ballet, and whenever the kids had to go frolicking down the floor, I stayed right by her, and they all left me. So
oh wow,
that didn't work out. Then around second grade, she tried to sign me up for karate actually at a daycare.
Oh.
I was like, nope, not doing that. And then eventually in sixth grade, I won a free month somewhere for karate, and I actually went and tried it and loved it. Fell in love with martial arts in general.
Okay.
And then we actually ended up signing up for a different program a little bit later that was closer to home, and we did that and just kind of went from there.
Right on. Do you remember when was it that first moment in your life that you actually saw the martial arts? Was it like something from a cartoon or a movie or something of that sort that made you go like, wow, look at that stuff?
Yeah, I can actually pinpoint it. So I was not allowed to watch Power Rangers as a kid, which really cracks me up now.
No! Yeah. Oh, you poor child.
I know. And I watched a little bit of TMNT, but I wasn't into that. But the thing that I noticed one time was, I forget the name of it, but it was oh my gosh, Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Okay.
JTT girl right here.
Okay.
But, he did a spin side kick, and what was that movie?
Wait, was it the movie with Chevy Chase in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Boy Scouts and stuff.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did a spin side kick, and after that, I was obsessed with that move. I gotta learn the spin side kick. And then I was probably maybe fourth grade or something when that came out. So
wow.
When I finally got to learn that at blue belt, I was hooked.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Now you said that primarily you started in traditional karate first, and then you?
No. Nope. I do not have a traditional background at all. I actually started at an MMA school, so I didn't learn forms until everything kind of piddle-paddled out with that. So actually, when I moved on from that program, I tried some Taekwondo. I did another MMA school. I kind of just moved around trying different things, and ultimately ended up doing about a year at United Karate Studios, the one in Rome. So back then it was UKS, and it was Ricky Lockhart. So I did about a year there, and that's where I started learning a little bit about just forms in general, and kata, and they do a couple of soft style forms there, so I learned a little bit about that, learned how to point spar.
Right.
Also spent some time at Master Perry Huggins of Georgia down at Noonan. That's kind of where I got started on point sparring just in general, and it was just too far, but definitely love him and throw a lot of credit to him and get me started in the like our local sport martial arts circuit.
Okay.
And then I ended up after a little bit of experience in the tournaments, I got it in with Mike Ledford in Gainesville. Like you might know his daughters Lindsay and Whitney that compete as well, or did. And so I started working for him and training, and ended up getting black belt under him in Tang Sudo and sport martial arts. And then went on, he stopped teaching. I ended up with Master One and kick team down in Columbus, carrying on rank through that. So
okay.
And have spent some time with Team ATL on point sparring. I've got a very wide, diverse background of people that I've gotten to work with over the years.
Well, I mean, I didn't know that Tang Sudo was part of the equation. I knew that you were a Taekwondo person. Yeah,
well, it's definitely not traditional Tang Sudo, I think. I think they mostly stuck to the sport martial arts side of it, the CMX.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I got to learn musical forms, extreme forms, tricking, all that stuff, and then really went into a lot more point sparring there too.
Okay. What was training like for you back in the day? Because I know like everybody's training is a little bit different. Obviously yours is probably going to be a little bit different as well. So what was it like for you starting from the ground up to where you are right now as, you know, the woman warrior of NASKA?
Well, it's hard at first because coming from an MMA style, I didn't know anything about point sparring. I didn't understand why I was losing so quick.
Sure.
And that was kind of like frustrating because I would go get whooped within 20 seconds and be like, what just happened? I barely even got hit.
Right.
And I was like, I know if we really fought, I could take her, but I didn't understand what was happening. So
right. Because it was like a little bit of a culture shock.
Oh, big time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then my what I was trying to throw together with forms was wacky too. But as far as training, I started just practicing a lot at home because I didn't have a close dojo to train at the time. And then once I started going to Mike's, I was going up there originally just 2 days a week, and then I would just end up spending the night at some of my friends up there and staying 2 or 3 days in a row and training as much as possible with his team, and staying late to do like privates and stuff, get extra help.
Right on. When did you know that it started to, like, in general as martial arts, when did you think that it started to kind of click and make sense?
For the sports side of it, probably around 2007, I started to get some results. I think I did my first battle in 2006. Everybody was like, don't go yet, don't go. And I went, and it's just such an eye-opener. And I don't think I even, like, did well at all that year. But the following year, I made it into, like, the top 3 out of, like, 20 women for fighting.
Ooh.
And that was after, like, falling asleep, waiting all day to fight. And it was at I think it was the World Congress Center or something back then. I mean, this was a long time ago, so.
Right.
But it was, that was probably the year that it started to click, for at least for point fighting. The forms kind of came together within the next year or so.
Most people actually know you as the former and person that does weapons.
Right.
Why did you do that type of competition first and tournament versus what you do now? Was it because you felt like that was more of your style, that was your bread and butter, you felt more comfortable with it, you weren't comfortable with sparring as you are now? I mean, where were you?
Well, I think honestly, my dad just was like, "You're going to spar," and I was like, "Okay then." So I think there was that first off, and then second of all, it didn't take me long to start getting results in sparring, and started taking out some of the seeds. So that was obviously the thing I needed to work on the most at the time, and so that was what I chased the most, and started doing pretty decent in weapons when I switched to sword. Originally I was doing commas, and everybody was like, "That's just too small a weapon for your height and size body." I was like, okay. So I switched to sword in that first year or so. Obviously had no idea what I was doing, but I got a few training sessions in with a few different people, and it started to click. So started to do pretty good with that, and open hand, same deal. Kind of came along. I tried to do trad back then, but just never got anywhere with it, and have learned more in the senior divisions as I've gotten older about trad, but never done a traditional school.
Okay. Before actually even reaching like black belt, and I'm talking about before reaching like that first degree, coming up in the ranks, like obviously, like, let's say for example, white, yellow, green, blue, brown, that sort of thing. What were your first impressions? I mean, did you feel like you really understood it right then and there, or do you felt like you were a work in progress? Did you feel like as soon as you kept on getting promoted that it just, each piece of the puzzle just started to come to the table and you're starting to realize what the picture was?
Yeah, I think so. Like as a kid, that first program that I did, I really just was hooked on trying to get a black belt. I was just obsessed with it there for a while.
For sure.
And so I did that because, it was an MMA style, but they still called it karate. And, they did some karate foundational stuff, but like I said, no forms and stuff. So I was just obsessed with becoming a black belt, and then I was obsessed with becoming an instructor for them, and I just ate the program up. Like it was a real game changer in me for confidence and life skills, and then I learned a lot of my self-defense through that program, so that's what I give the most credit to that program. I would not have any grappling skills whatsoever if it weren't for that first program that I started with. So as I got older, I went to a few jiu-jitsu schools and stuff, and that really kind of helped click with what it was I was trying to learn as a kid. Kind of started to click a little bit more as an adult.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That being said, what was it like to actually test for the big one? Because everybody has their story, of testing for the big one for the first time. So what was your story like? Were you nervous? Were you fired up and ready to go? Were you questioning yourself? Where was Sarah at when it happened?
Yeah. Well, I've taken the black belt test several different places now, and had the joy of getting to take that test several times. So the very first one I did, I was so nervous I couldn't eat. And it was a nighttime class, or a nighttime test. It wasn't starting until like 6 p.m. So I had to go to school. Had to sit there and think about it all day. It was rough. So yeah, I was definitely stressed. And the first thing he did, it was a traveling program. So he had like a trailer full of mats and punch bags and all the works. And so he would go around to different schools each week to like teach little classes and stuff to their after school care programs.
Right.
And the first thing we had to do in the pouring rain was go outside and get all the stuff and bring it in and set up our own mats. We had to bring in like 30 fold out mats that were bigger than we were, and then 15 or so 200-pound punching bags, probably.
Oh,
the wave masters that are filled all the way up with water and sand.
Yeah.
So that was fun. It was me and one other kid at that test.
Wow.
That was pretty intense. And then that one was mostly fighting and grappling and stamina. But I remember when I tested years later with Mike being just terrified. He scared us. He told us we were going to have to do gun defense with a pellet gun. I mean, I was probably 19 or 20 and still believed him. He was joking with us. But it was hard to sleep that night before that test. And that was a very, very long test. They took the clocks down. We didn't have any concept of what time it was throughout the day. So it was a different level of hard. They were both intense in their own ways. But that one had all the forms that you had to remember. It was very mentally challenging.
Okay.
So.
When you actually achieved the big one, and you see that black belt, that coveted black belt is around your waist, what was the first thought in your mind when you saw that? Were you just like, were you at a WTF kind of a moment?
Yeah, well, I don't think WTF was around back then, but yes, I probably was. But it was super exciting. I went home and slept in that belt. Yep, I did. So, and I still have that one. It's
Nice.
Probably too small now because I was like, I think 14 maybe when I got that one. But
I mean, you still have it for nostalgia and the memories.
Oh, yeah.
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 Because, with that type of stuff, you never want to throw that stuff away because it's too precious,
It is.
Yeah, it's just like, if I throw this away, I'm throwing like a part of myself away.
Yep.
And I can't do that. No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. Wow. At what point did you decide, you know what, I need to basically go on my own? Because I feel like, where I'm at right now, I feel like my emphasis as a martial artist, it can be transferred somewhere else and it can work a little bit better this way. Whether if it's like I'm going to go ahead and do my own thing, or I'm just going to learn with somebody else. When did you decide to say, you know what, I need to cut the rope?
Well, it really goes back to when I was a kid. I just started driving, so I think I was 16.
Okay.
And a sophomore. My original program, the MMA one. My parents felt like I had outgrown the program, and so they started really trying to convince me to broaden my horizons and try other things and try just getting out there and trying different styles, different instructors.
Right.
They felt like it had become a cash cow and a kind of a black belt factory, and just they kind of lost respect for the instructor in some ways. But
so you mean like the McDojo kind of thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
But I was still obsessed with it, and was kind of working for the program
right.
for free.
Okay.
They were kind of fed up with that at that point because they were like, she's gonna be driving, she's teaching all these classes for you. They were just kind of done with the guy.
Right.
And they were like, you're gonna go try some other things, and that's that. And so I was like, I don't want to. But they, my parents had the last say, and they had me go try a place a couple of cities from us, and we went and it was a jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai place, and so they enrolled me there. And I guess back then, somehow the instructor, my original instructor, was able to see from the same billing company that we were enrolled in another program, and found out that way. Okay. And keep in mind, this is old school. This doesn't typically happen anymore, but he found out and had me and my sister, who was 4 years younger than me, had us help with a black belt test. And at the end of the test, he told us that we couldn't come back.
What?
Yeah, my parents weren't even there during this conversation either. He pulled us aside and said what he'd found out, which he had already taught to them at the beginning of the test. He had us start the black belt test while he was in the office with my parents, and we had no idea what was going on. And I guess they had kind of a falling out, and when it was over, he was like, this isn't the best place for you. He was kind about it and gentle about it, but he was like, this isn't the right place for you to be right now, and you had to go. Right. And maybe you can come back someday. He was kind of vague with it. But anyways, that was the end of that. And of course, I was heartbroken for a while and kind of felt out of place at any place that I did go to. Mm-hmm. And I really didn't love the jiu-jitsu thing, because at that point I had started somehow seeing, I know I had started seeing sport martial arts. So I saw it originally on ESPN2 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I saw the US
ESPN2.
Open,
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that? That's what I want to do. And I wanted to learn how to do an aerial.
Do you remember who you saw on ESPN2? Like, who was the competitors at that time that made you go, whoa?
Casey Nash, or I guess she might
Casey
have still
Mark
been
Nash.
Casey Mark.
Yeah.
The very first time, I mostly saw board breaking, but when the forums started popping up, I know for a fact I saw her, and I think there might have been a Chinese competitor. I can't really remember.
Ming Lu.
Maybe so. I really can't remember seeing the forums that year. But
Do you remember the year? I could probably help you fill that in.
Let's see, that would have been like 03 or 04. And this was just seeing it on TV.
Wow, then that would probably could have been like the year like the times of like all right.
It was definitely
Caitlin Deschelle, Steve Terrata, Matt Emig.
Yeah.
Competitors like that. Probably even, I think maybe at the time he wasn't in Paul Mitchell. He was in straight up Mark Canonizato.
Yeah. Luca has trained with him.
Yeah.
He loves working with him. My son.
Yeah.
Youngest son.
Yeah.
Or second youngest son. Yeah.
Of course.
They met at one of the tournaments last year, and he likes to come up and work together on forums and stuff. And a little bit of the tricking. Cool guy. Very cool.
Yeah, well, he's definitely a legend.
Oh, yeah.
Him, first starting out with Team Straight Up, and, he had, like, an awesome comma weapon form.
Yeah.
Which was really good. And then when he transitioned over to Team Paul Mitchell, he's like, well, forget this. I'm going with katana. And I'm just like, what, really? I remember, dude, all right. I mean, you went from one short bladed weapon to like the longest bladed weapon possible. If that's your ticket, go for it, man.
Yeah,
I'm not mad about it.
I think he rocked both, so yeah.
Yeah,
You can pull it off.
And that was at the time when he actually had a long mohawk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God, that thing looked like a wisp broom. I'm like, man, if we can just like get him by the legs, we could probably sweep up the dirt up in here.
But, I forgot where we got off track on that. But yeah. So I got kicked out of my first school.
All right.
And where were we going with that conversation?
You got kicked off of your school. You started seeing NASKA on ESPN2.
Yes. Yeah.
That kind of motivated you to say, you know what, this is what I want.
So how I kind of ended up on my own. So that's essentially how I got on my own. And then I started trying to figure out how they were doing. I didn't even know it was called tricking, and I don't even think it was called tricking yet. It was still just kind of forming at the time. But I remember seeing like, I think it's called capoeira.
Capoeira, yeah.
There for a minute, I thought it was that, so I thought that's what I needed to do, and then I just thought I needed to like learn gymnastics, and eventually once I saw the U.S. Open videos, I kind of got the picture in my head that I needed to go a different route completely. Like didn't need to be spending a whole lot of times in a jiu-jitsu school.
Right.
I needed to be somewhere that could train me in the way that I wanted to go, and so. After trying a few schools, that's when I ended up at the United and started learning the traditional forms and then the fighting and stuff. But they didn't do that stream, so that's where we kept looking, and we met. We started doing the tournaments a little bit locally, and then that's how we met up with Mike, and then that's where it really started. Which luckily by then they had YouTube had come along, and so had it wasn't Instagram. There was some kind of karate video thing that I would get on.
Bylang?
No? Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I did get on that.
Because Bylang is like it was like a website where everybody saw like all these tricks, and it was kind of like a tutorial on how to do like the 540 or the 720 or like the cork or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. God, we're really pulling up like, old school stuff here. My gosh. Yeah, your daughter's like, Huh?
Yeah, she's like, what are we talking about right now?
Yeah, I mean, we could be telling you right now. We used to download music off of Napster, and she'll be like, "What?
Yeah,
Oh, Napster? What's Napster?
this is true.
Is that a bug?
Sounds like
Let me
it.
get the raid can real quick. Shh. This Napster is kind of deadly.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my goodness. So when did you actually? You said that your first, if I remember correctly, was your first NASKA event ever the Battle of Atlanta?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you competed. That year didn't go well. So did you wait like another whole year to try to compete in NASKA in general again by competing at that same tournament, or did you decide, you know what, let me go over to California over there where they have that one NASKA tournament over there. Let me go over to Diamond Nationals or U.S. Capitol Classics and whatnot.
So what I think I did was, I think we went to Battle just to kind of experience it. It was just me and my dad, and he will not drive on interstate, so we took every back road all the way down from
geez.
Bartow County down to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ended up on like a MARTA bus and then a MARTA train, and even at night, like this tournament didn't get done until well past like 1 o'clock in the morning or something that year.
Ooh,
and so we were like in the train station in the middle of the night. Some kind of prison suit was sitting there.
Oh gosh.
So it was pretty sketchy, but I think I did that for year one, and then I think year two wasn't there. There's a couple NASKA tournaments that are not around. There's another close one, but I know year two I did Battle again, and then added on U.S. Open.
Okay.
And I may have added Daytona at the time.
Yep,
and
Daytona. Yep. I remember
and
Daytona.
I know I did not do Dixieland that second year. That was
Ooh,
a few years.
Dixieland. Oh,
Yeah,
in
see,
Tennessee?
there was a lot more in the South back then.
Yeah, it sure was.
Now you had to
yeah.
fly everywhere. But I know we did year two. I went by myself with a friend to U.S. Open, and we flew, and that was my first flight. So it was just a lot of nerves going into it in general. And I didn't do great at that one, but I got to do it. And the following year, started making grounds. It had to be year three of experience in NASKA at all was when I started to make a few rounds. I think my dad decided to have me do like a little bit of the circuit, so because I know I did Rhode Island and I don't know.
Which was the New England Open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think so. And then I know I did Daytona and something else up north. I don't remember. There wasn't AKA back then, or it wasn't in Chicago.
No, AKA wasn't there at the time. At least not like how it is now.
Yeah. I just know I hit a couple in the spring up north. It must have been New England and Rhode Island were two different ones, weren't they? Or Boston, and one was Boston, one was Rhode Island.
Well, the Rhode Island one was the New England Open. That was it. Boston probably would have been something like maybe like a crane event or something like that. Maybe so. And I'm like literally like using my imagination right now. I'm like looking at the map of the United States and all the NASKA events and so forth. If you keep going down from Rhode Island and you're going south, the only next thing that's possibly happening is the U.S. Capitol Classic in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And then if you make that, going west, obviously you have, the Kentucky Bluegrass.
Yeah.
AKA, even though it was there, it wasn't as big as it was now.
Yeah.
But, I think it was probably like a lower tier of a NASKA event.
Yeah. And maybe I did go to AKA wherever it was back then. I feel like I did at least like 5 or 6 events that year.
Right.
And started to make my way in with the top 4. It may have been year 4 by then, by the time I made it into the top 4. But at the time, I came in when it was Lauren Kearney and Casey Marks dominating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And back then they did the top 8. So you had to do your first round and qualify to get into the top 8.
Correct.
Then you competed again with the same exact form to get into the top 4.
4, right.
And I remember the first time making it into the top 4 was just an incredible experience. Or, I mean, getting into the top 8, because it was stacked, and getting, just into the 8 was exciting back then. And then getting to rerun it. And then I started getting consistently into the top 4 on different forms and weapons, whatever year that was. I guess it was, I think, 08. I titled for NASKA in 2 divisions. I think it was 2000. I picked it up in 11. I picked it up in 12. I guess it was 2011 was when I world titled for the first time.
So was that like the general time frame where you decided to consistently compete in NASKA?
Yeah, it was pretty much between 7 and off and on between 7 and 11 was my kind of my years that I hit it the hardest. And then I think 2010 was when I got married. So yeah, I did another strong year, and then I had my first kid in 2012. So I know I was pregnant with him when I went to pick up my.
Oh wait a minute, she's the second one.
She's the second. Yeah. So the oldest is 13 now.
Which is Gio.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, because let me see if I remember. I know there's Gio, there's Ari, there's Luca, and
Vinny is the baby. Yep. And
wow, we got some real Italian names up in here.
Yes.
I feel like every one of those names, Joe Pesci probably played the role of each of those names.
Definitely. But that in 2011, luckily I had enough points towards the end of the year that I didn't have to fight anymore to win the fighting title. Because I got pregnant with him before Diamonds. So I had to, and I didn't even tell my parents. I was like, I'm going to Diamonds. And then I didn't fight, and I lied to them and was like, so yeah, they were like, how'd you do in fighting? And I was like, I didn't get to fight. I missed my division. So.
But that's believable, though. If there was ever a good lie, that was a good one.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they found out later.
But kids, just remember, lying's bad in general, but this was justified, though.
We had to surprise them. We had a surprise plan.
Wow.
So
being a competitor then in the NASKA circuit, then to being a competitor now in the NASKA circuit, one of the main commonalities that I bump into with everybody that competes, they all say the same thing, which is competing in NASKA tournaments is no joke. Like literally, like I can remember back in the day, like, hey, you want to compete in 3 events, it's like $50. Great, no problem. Now it's like, hey, we one event is $80, and then if you want to compete in another one, we'll deduct $10, so that's like 70, and it just keeps on adding up and up. Plus now these days the cost of airfare, hotel accommodations, what you do outside of the tournament, like if you want to go ahead and eat at a restaurant or do whatever. I mean, the money just adds up. I mean, don't you find that it's concerning as not only as a competitor but also as just like a regular person trying to live life and manage money?
Oh yeah, it's hard. I mean, we did the math, and for the 3 of us to compete by April, it had been like $10,000.
Good God.
April. Yeah, so I will not personally keep competing. I did this year because I always wanted to come back to NASKA, but I mean, the 4 kids, it's like one kid after another. They just kept coming. So I never really got to get back into it with that.
Right.
And then, baby, well, I was excited to try my 30s because the 18 to 29, like I said, it was stacked. Like there was no getting past Casey and Lauren. Being next to them was amazing. Getting to be third place a few times next to them was just exciting.
Yeah, that's an honor in itself.
Yeah,
because that's like you're basically competing against like the cream of the crop.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
And then I think it was only about a year that Casey and I aligned with each other, and then she retired, and then it was still Lauren for another year or 2, and I get to be second next to her a time or 2, and that was just really, really cool too.
Right.
But about the time I started to have a good year, Becca and Caitlin moved up, and they were just incredible too. So, and I just did not have the same background at the time in sport karate to compete on that level.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was time to start a family anyway, so it all worked out. They killed it and crushed it, and I had fun in the time that I did compete with them a little bit too. So
when was it that you decided to, you know what, I want to run it again, because I feel like, you know, if I made the second coming of my NASKA career, I think it would be a lot better than what it was the first time around.
Yeah. So, well, I did a few off and on just throughout the years in my 18 to 29s, even with the kids, just like U.S. Open and stuff like that, just to stay in it in some level.
And of course,
to do it with my students.
Battle of Atlanta, because that's like, you know, basically near the house.
Oh, yeah, like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But I really, really started looking forward to my 30s and started training for that division. I was like, hey, that's going to be my shot.
Yeah.
And I had a really good first tournament in my 30s. Got a few first places and extremes and stuff like that. And then, let's see what happened. I did a tournament or two, and I was going to hit it hard, and here comes COVID. Yeah, everything shut down. I think it was, I came into it halfway through the NASKA season. I turned 30 and came into it, and then was like, yeah, I'm going to hit it hard starting in January, and that's when COVID came along. So, so that took out year one, and then guess who comes along after that? COVID baby.
Yeah.
Vinny. So,
yeah.
And then the last 3 years, I've just been raising him up. So, and now that he just turned 4, and I was like, this year is I knew Ari and Luca were ready to at least experience NASKA on a pretty hardcore level. They really leveled up a lot last year. They both got into the Ari got her first degree black belt, and Luca's still on what we call the novice black belt, or some people call it the skunk belt. It's black and white.
I always call it like the probationary black belt.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. Yeah. And then so we were like, we're going to try this more for Ari than Luca at the time, because he's got a little more time. He wasn't even 9 yet. He was 7 at his first NASKA tournament.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to get out there, and I feel like if they see my face, they'll start to notice Ari's face more, and a little bit of Luca, and they see Team Twist on my back and their backs. It's just going to help people to start to notice them. And if I can do well, maybe that'll help, just them to get a little more exposure, and them to see somebody doing it on that level. And I wanted them to see me compete on that level for a little bit as well. And I wanted my students to kind of see that level again too, because my original black belts are all adults now. So, because I started teaching so young, they're not that much younger than me.
Right. Right.
So yeah, our current kids don't have anybody to look up to, besides if I don't get out there and show them.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to stay relevant this year and show the kids how it's done. So that was my main motivation.
Going by that, I mean, they don't have just you to look at as being like the role model. I mean, if we can be honest right now, they could look at Ari and be like, yo, that's the blueprint of how maybe we need to compete, and how we should train, and how we should really get dialed in.
Yes, and we have seen such a shift in culture in our school for competition. We had a pretty good competition year, or competition team back in 2015 to 2017. All our kids were black belts. Our school was located in a little bigger town, and they were just killing it. They made top 3 at Battle of Atlanta and U.S. Open and Team Demo that year. And but they just kind of all dispersed and became teenagers and started doing things like football and cheerleading and all the normal things that kids do at that age. And so when we moved our location, it's just like we started over, and then we got to going good, and then COVID came along, and it was like starting it over again. And in a small town, starting over, the cycle takes a lot longer to start over in.
I bet.
And so we've done good as far as picking up our numbers and everything, but getting the culture to shift back into competition mode, it's a sleepy town. We don't push in the same way in small towns, and it's hard to kind of get people motivated to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think having the kids go out and compete a lot, and some of our little bit higher kids pushing that envelope a little bit more has really sparked an interest in our school to compete more.
Let me ask you this before we segue into the next thing. What's going on with Gio and his training? Is he still like interested in in training in martial arts, or is he not like the idea of competing in tournaments, or maybe he just wants to kind of take training in his own way? Where is he at with everything?
Yeah. So you know how I said I was the polar opposite when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
He is me as a kid.
Wow.
Like as a polar opposite. I would call myself lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was not sports motivated. I couldn't run a mile to save my life as a kid.
Okay.
Karate changed all that as I got older and as I became an older teen and a young adult. And he's the same way. So I'm hoping eventually something's just going to click and he becomes motivated to kind of physically do something that he just loves. But one thing that's been really a shift change in him this year is he started talking about wanting to get a second degree. He's shown up for classes more this year on his own without me telling him to. And then he's really gotten into bow. Like just more, he likes just doing tricks with a bow more than doing forms. I'm trying to kind of hone him in on a little more striking and form structure with it, but he's getting there.
Okay.
And he really enjoys just playing with the bow, and he kind of wanted to do team fighting. He's done some team demo this year, so he's done more in the last year than he's done, more than he did last year. So I figure if I sit back and let him, maybe the time will come.
Right on.
If I don't push him too much.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you right now?
38.
38?
Yes.
What is tricking like in your younger years versus the beautiful years that you are now?
It is hard to find the time more than anything, and when I do have the time, it's hard to find the energy that I used to have. Just because the workload I have is exhausting sometimes. It just kind of kills the energy that I used to have. But my legs are still pretty good most days. Like I can still throw some of the tricks, and then at some days I feel like I'm 85. So.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. But,
Nelly. Okay.
Yeah. We have
All
good
right.
days and we have bad days.
Yeah, for sure.
But-
Everybody has good days and bad days. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
The flips are definitely getting harder,
But do you feel like because you probably have done a lot of flips throughout life that, the muscle memory kind of compensates for that?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Can you still throw a 540?
On a good day.
On a good day?
On a good day, yeah. That one
Jackknife?
still scares me. No, I never had jackknife.
You never had jackknife?
No.
Oh, jeez.
No, I'm not that good at trigger.
Touchdown raise?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still do that. Yeah.
Aerial?
Yes.
Okay.
Karate aerial. I can't do like the straight over gymnastic style aerial anymore. I mean, I might could if you put like put some money down.
What was the one trick that you felt like, hey, I really want to try it and do it, but could never nail it? Was it like something like a corkscrew?
Yeah.
Or a double twist?
Yeah, that one didn't make sense in my head at all. Yeah, the cork. Yeah, although I didn't really have anybody else at the time that could do it to teach me in person. So just trying to watch videos and figure that out.
Right on. What do you think about the tricks throwing back then and like the advanced tricks of today? Because obviously you see like these new tricks and you're like, get the heck out of here. Like how was this even possible?
Yeah, it's very different. Well, back then it was a lot of like, do this trick, then do this trick. And the combos were not quite as long and elaborate. But everything back then was so crispy clean, and I love the kicking. Like I really like the old school tricking for that. I miss the kick tricks, like the old school pop sevens.
Yeah, old school pop
those are my
sevens.
favorites.
Wow. Okay.
Those are beautiful kicks.
Let's segue into something of what you know. Championship karate. When did this happen? Why did this happen?
So when I got kicked out of school, number one, and we went around trying different things. As I got older, my dad was like, so you're just going to start your own program at your church? I was like, I'm going to do what?
Oh, okay.
So he had me formulate a plan, go talk to session, and all these different things. And he had me start my own program, which I don't regret it, but at the same time, a 17-year-old had no business owning their own place or running their own program.
Not at that age, no.
No, I didn't know what I was doing. I learned a lot as I went with my first group of students, and super thankful that they were patient and went along with the ride. And, it worked out for them too. I mean, they did great, and they were some amazing students. So I must have done something right along the way, but I didn't get to train like I wanted to. Like, I would go like once a week down to places, but I couldn't do like I really, really wanted to.
Right.
Because I was always caught up with having to build other people's forms or take time to teach them how to do the basics and stuff like that.
Right. And how long has Championship Karate been around now for?
So it started as a free program 2004, and then in 2008 it became a business. So since 2008, yeah.
So let's say 2008, that's when it officially became a business.
Yeah.
We are in 2025.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I just want to ask, what's the podcast about?
Oh, what's going on, bro? No, this is just a podcast about, everybody with creative mediums, and obviously with the martial arts, that's also a creative medium. So yeah. My God, hey, that's the first time we actually had somebody bomb an episode. I'm not mad at it because at least he was nice about it and he didn't use any incorrect terminology. So thank you, young man, for keeping it PG. We love you for it, brother. God bless you. Wow, I'm gonna have to remember this date, the day that I got bombed on my own show.
That's
wow,
awesome.
No, that's great. We are definitely going to keep that. That's
bombed
not gonna,
again.
Yes, bombed again.
Bombed
Yes.
again.
Yes. Oh my God.
Too much.
This is getting better by the second. I love it. Okay, so 2008 is when it really got started and it became a business. We're in 2025 now. If you know, if you knowing what you know now versus what you didn't know then, would you have done anything differently in the way of being, a businesswoman, the way of being an instructor, and all around the way?
Yeah, first I would have taken more time for myself because I've never had time for myself since then.
Okay.
And this year has been kind of more of a year for myself, but then I feel bad, because I have to do more things for my kids too.
Yeah.
But, I would have done that differently. I would have taken a few years to just do my thing and not have to worry about teaching or coming up with lessons and stuff like that. And then I would have studied how other schools operate more and tried to spend some time just kind of looking at how other schools operate, and maybe would have invested in mentorship earlier on.
I hear you. How do you differentiate between teaching the traditional stuff versus teaching the stuff that is more for sport karate purposes?
Well, the sport karate, we play music in class and keep the
energy going.
Yeah, keep the energy going, keep the beat up, and it's just more of a exciting. And then in the traditional, I like more of a quiet element, and I like to just repeat the moves. I like to sweat. Some kids don't like to sweat, and it's obvious.
No, you got to sweat.
Yes, and I'm trying to push that same discipline onto my kids and students that, hey, this is how it's done. And so now that they've kind of come along through the comp team, they're understanding that when I say it's practice time, that means Miss Sarah's practicing too. So you're here on one night to learn and this night to practice.
Right.
And so you're going to see Miss Sarah practicing, and you're going to practice just like her. So get over on your spot. She's going to be doing her thing, and I'm going to be. So I like to just repeat certain moves over and over, and then if something's not working, kind of correct that. But that's how I like to do trad.
I feel that. So let's go in something a little bit recent. Recently, you had competed over at the U.S. Open in Orlando, Florida, and you had took a picture because you had said, "Hey, I won the Grands, and this is my trophy, and this is the cup." And then a few moments later, you commented saying, yeah, they took it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
What went wrong? What happened? Was it something that they did and it was like a miscount, or was it just politics? Where do you think what went wrong?
Really, it was a system error. I think it could have been handled differently, and if it was a kid involved, I know as a mom I would have just gone off on people.
Yeah.
But what happened was I won. I won. On Friday, I had won CMX forms, and then I won like 4 different things. So I was in the Grands runoffs for the Grands for both forms and weapons.
Right.
And weapons was ran on Friday, and the forms came along, and I ended up winning Extreme versus the Trad. Like, they ran it back to back in our rings, in the 39 ring, and I won the Trad using my CMX form or creative. And then I went and got the trophy. I even asked, what about the older women, like the 40 plus winners, and is there an overall Grands? Because they called it the Grands. They handed me the Grands ticket. We had already ran all the normal things that day, and the other competitor thought it was the Grands. Everybody was aware that it was the Grands. I took the picture with the judges in the ring, all the things. And so then, before I went to get the trophy, I double checked at the booth. I was like, is there anything else? And they were like, no, that's it. I was like, okay, cool. So I went, walked the 3 halls, because, Coronado's huge, and went and got the trophy, came back in uniform, rounded up my daughter, had her come over to the stage and get the picture, like the U.S. Open backdrop, and sent it to my coaches, sent it to my whole family.
Yep.
And then made my way back out of the building to go change out. And so this whole time had been about 45 minutes to an hour that I was over there celebrating. And then I came back in, and Ari was like, Mama, they need you. And I was like, you're joking. Like, I thought it was just a mean joke. And unfortunately, she was not joking. So I went over to the table, and they were like, yeah, you got to rerun it. They left out the 50 plus winner. Might have been the 50 plus winner. Same lady that wins every year. She's amazing. And which is the one I had checked on earlier. Like, that I knew I usually competed against her. So I just thought maybe this year they were doing their Grands, I was doing my Grands, and there wasn't an overall.
Right.
I don't know what happened, but the reason it didn't populate in the system, it was because when our ring finished, their ring was still going, and we ran the Grands in our ring. And I guess it just didn't come up on the program. I don't know, but they chose to have us rerun it, and then they let the one that I beat in the forums rerun as well, and then the 50 or 40 plus winner, whatever she is, ended up winning it that round.
Yeah.
Which I was in tears going onto the mat at that point, just because I don't cry, and that one was really hard to hold back tears going onto the mat in the first place.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to call different coaches over there to see what was going on and like see if there's anything that could be done, but it was just going so fast. Nobody was listening to me, and like at the end of the day, I have integrity and I'm going to do what's right. So that's what I did, and then I lost, and spent a few hours just sitting in my hoodie, taking it all in. And good news was, like, a little later, my daughter got her first place in trad forms, and that kind of cheered me up for the day, and spent the rest of the day at the water park. So
Nice.
I'm still getting over it, but that one's gonna hurt for a while. And I'll be honest, I didn't really feel like training between that one and this one. I really didn't feel too motivated to compete again after that.
If they would have done it like the right way, where they just would have, they didn't have that oversight, and you guys would have competed, and let's say for all intents and purposes that that you lost, would it have been like a different feeling? Like, would you have been okay with that?
If they just told me I lost,
or like let's say for example that in a perfect world that you guys all competed and there was no error, it would have been like, I guess, like the final runoff and that person won. Would you have been okay with that happening versus what did happen?
Oh yeah, because I've lost to her. I think I think, at least 2 years in a row now.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I half expected to lose to her again. I mean, that's why I actually learned a whole new Japanese form. I was going to try to win Jap this time, just to have a backup plan, because it's very hard to win against Trad with CMX. So I had a backup plan and was training really harder on that than the creative stuff. So that was my plan. If I had won fair and square the first round, that would have been fine. It was the fact that I won it and then had it taken away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what hurt.
So what made you decide, you know what, I'm going to go to U.S. Capitol Classic?
Well, that had been on our list already. Otherwise, I probably would not have.
Okay.
I probably would have been like, screw it, I'm not going.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No.
Not
That's
that it's Capitol Classic's fault. I would have probably taken a break, saved the money, and done something else.
That's fair.
I would have gone to the Sphere to see the Backstreet Boys, if we're being real.
Oh, hey, you know, I'm a BSB guy myself.
I thought about it.
Okay. Yeah, we about like. Wow. But you know, you did pretty good. You did pretty good. You won a couple of firsts. You won 2 grands. In a sense, you have to think that this is probably like a nice little vindication. Like, hey, I rebounded. And now I'm feeling good, like I'm on top of the world, and especially like the fact that you actually kick butt in sparring.
Thank you.
And I'm like, whoa, like I don't want to mess with this girl. Like, you know, if I ticked her off, ain't having it.
That's funny. Yeah, somebody else told me the same thing, and he was like, I never seen you spar, and like, you're really fast. I was like, I don't feel fast anymore, but which I don't feel like was ever super fast.
you were fast.
But
you were fast in my book.
I don't train sparring anymore. I had when we found out our flight was canceled yesterday and decided we were driving, we had to go past my studio, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to switch my divisions if we're driving, because it's at least 10 hours from Georgia to DC.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me grab Trad weapons for the kids, let me grab gear for me. Only I grabbed gear for my son. I thought it was my son's helmet. I grabbed my daughter's helmet, so I had to wear a kid's helmet today and had to buy a mouth guard and borrow elbow pads, but hold it off.
Yeah.
My ears were rolled up a little bit in there,
But you did it.
Did it.
You did it, yeah.
I had fun.
Congratulations,
Thank
though.
you.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I know that we're on borrowed time, so I want to probably keep it a little bit short so that you can get on out of here. Again, you know, we definitely thank you for your time, and, you know, anytime that you want to do like a round 2, we definitely can run that for sure. You know, for people that are actually listening right now, if there was, you know, a little bit of like words of advice or encouragement or just, you know, some sense of motivation when it comes to, you know, being a martial artist and competing at the highest level, what would you tell them?
Just remember that martial arts lifestyle always comes first. Even when you implement so much sport into it, you have to maintain martial arts integrity into your everyday way of life. The way of the martial arts practitioner is to have integrity and discipline and focus and respect, and you got to remember that in the ring too. And some days it's hard because you want to treat it just like any other sport and get mad and chew people out, and it's, at the end of the day, it's not like that in martial arts. We try to uplift each other and cheer each other on and be a family.
Right on. Well, I know that, you know, we probably stayed a little bit longer than you really needed to. Again, Sarah, thank you so much for, you know, popping in and spending the time with us. You know, I had a blast. I feel like I know you a little bit more better than I did the first time around.
Yeah.
And, you know, it is an honor and a pleasure to, you know, talk to a woman that is a strong warrior of the martial arts, who has competed at the highest level and still continues to, you know, kick butt and take names. So, you know, my respect to you and all the best to you.
Well, it has been my pleasure to be on here today. Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. And again, anytime that you want to run it back, you're more than welcome to.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Yes, indeed. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to probably wrap it up. So, thank you guys for tuning in. A very live version of the Kim Hoang podcast experience here over at National Harbor. First off, I want to say thank you to Sara for taking the time to be a guest and to really do it and so forth. I know that if she could stay a little bit longer, she really would have. But I kind of knew that, we were on borrowed time with her. And we definitely tried to make the best out of it. She is definitely somebody that I definitely have a lot of love and respect for. To be a woman at that level, at that age bracket, and still having the strength to keep competing and to show everybody, like, look, I can do it, is incredible. What I saw out of her today at the U.S. Capitol Classics is wow. It was very Herculean, you know what I mean? So it was definitely cool. So let's go ahead and we will wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. Per usual, you can find us on Facebook. Just go over to the search box and type in the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, and we will be there. As far as social media, we are on a lot of social media. We are on Instagram, and we are on Twitter, now known as X. So you can find us under the tag name at TKHPC Experience, all in one word, lowercase letters. Follow us and we'll follow you back. We are on a lot of podcasting platforms, ladies and gentlemen, up the wazoo. I mean, let's list it. We are on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Amazon Music. We are on YouTube Music. We are on Audible. We are also on iHeartRadio. So do us a favor, please like our podcast on all the podcasting platforms. Please follow and subscribe to them as well. Now, if you have Spotify, please give us a 5-star ranking. We would appreciate that. If you have Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star ranking and a positive written review, because the more times that you do that for each of those podcasting platforms, then that will increase our chances of actually, being thrown in the front lines of, each podcasting platform. And it could be like, some girl could be like, yo, this is the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. My girl Jess was telling me about this. She was telling me I should, like, follow, and subscribe. Yes, and yes. Do that to all of those podcasting platforms. Please and thank you. Please also share our podcast on all of your social media pages that you are members of. And also, tell everybody in person, whether if it's your family members, friends, co-workers, constituents. We definitely appreciate that, because it is called brand awareness. Sharing is caring, and we definitely appreciate the love. If you can just give it to us for the one time, you know what I mean? Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, please be safe out there, no matter what it is that you do in life. It doesn't do us any good if you do something that you're not supposed to do and you end up getting buried in a pine box and getting buried 6 feet under. We don't want that to happen. We want you to be healthy. We want you to be happy. We want you to be in the best place, because we believe in you. We think that's the best thing. Anything else otherwise, if you don't believe in yourself, shame on you. But we definitely think that you deserve the best things in life, and we think that you're worth it. Anybody that tells you otherwise, you can tell them, hey, I have no time for your negativity. I got things I got to do. You know what I mean? I'm all with what I need. So that is that. Last but not least, if you want to be a special guest, if you want to be a special guest host, if you have any constructive criticism, or if you have any questions for our Q&A form that we usually do on our solo episodes, please go ahead and email us at the KimHoangPodcastExperience@gmail.com. Whatever the subject is, we'll put it right there in the subject box, and whatever you want to write in terms of what you want to talk about, throw it in the body of the email, send it out, and I'll read it and I'll see what's going on. It probably will take me about like a day or two to get back to you about it, but I definitely will, because I am that type of person that loves communication in that way. So guys, thank you so much for everything. We definitely appreciate it. We appreciate the love and support. This podcast is not only my podcast, but it's your podcast too. You know what I mean? And I've always said that I can't really do it without you, because at the end of the day, your love and support is always appreciated, and we love it. You know what I mean? We really do. So, that being said, that's it. And I think I'm going to go ahead back inside this hotel and celebrate with the beverage. You know what I'm saying? So, for the one time here over at the National Harbor over in Oxon Hill, Maryland, which is not far from D.C., the site of the U.S. Capitol Classics, a 6A rated NASKA event thrown by Dennis Brown, Sifu Brown. Congratulations on another great event that you threw. God bless you. This is your boy Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation, the host with the most, the man with the plan, the guy that can bring the power within the hour, and the dude with the right attitude, saying thank you. We do appreciate it. It is awesome. And we'll do it again. And one more time, we do want to thank our guest, Sara Laterza, for being our guest. We definitely want to throw another invite for her to be another guest on our show at any point in time. Guys, it has been real. It has been fun, but I got to get on out of here. Please take care of yourself. Please know that we love you, and we'll see you again real soon. All right. Peace.